Hi guys, this is Cooper Travels and also Jacqui Cooper. I have more than one podcast, and today I have my other hat on, which is Cooper Virtual Career Day podcast, which is the purpose of this podcast is to feature different individuals and the careers that they've chosen. So that way elementary, middle, and high school students can know the variety of paths that you can take after you graduate from college or even before. Kevin, thank you so much for being on this podcast. For those that don't always follow my podcast, definitely subscribe to this, but I have another one called JCooperTravels, and Kevin, I just interviewed him on the other podcast, so definitely listen over there so that way you can learn more about his business. Kevin, thank you so much for being on. Can you share a little bit about what you do and how you got started?
All right. First of all, thank you, Jackie, for having me. I very much appreciate the time that you're providing for this. So I am an accountant. I provide accounting and bookkeeping services for small businesses. So that's what I do in a nutshell. That's kind of like, that's what I can say about what I do.
So for those that don't know how a podcast work also, there will be a block of information below the podcast as well as on the YouTube. And that way you can also reach out to Kevin if you have any questions or you want to learn more about his profession. Kevin, how did you know you wanted to go into accounting? And were there special courses that you needed to take either in I don't know, elementary, middle, high school, college? How did you kind of travel down that path?
Well, first of all, I want to say that I come from a family of accountants. So definitely that's something that kind of like persuaded me to follow that path. But more than that, I guess what I had in mind was the interest in going into accounting. I think that that has a lot to do with kind of like my profession. You know, my own interest in being engaged in what I do. In high school, I don't think I had to do anything when it comes to accounting. I mean, you just have to have a basic understanding on numbers. You just have to add, subtract, multiply, and divide, and do percentages, and that's it. You know. So if, let's say, for example, you take statistics in high school, I think you're gonna be pretty much well when it comes to doing the numbers part. I guess the kind of like the you can say the difficult part will be when you're in college. You have to integrate the numbers portion with kind of like a little bit of law with following a structure of how you're going to account for something when it comes to a private business. If you're going into the private sector, so I guess I mean that's everything that will fall into when you're in high school. But I mean, when you're in college, yeah, for sure, it definitely helps to have an accounting degree. If you want to start your own bookkeeping business when it comes to just data entry and everything that has to do with that, I don't think there's any need to have any type of degree. It does help having a license because that adds to your credibility. But if you just want to become a bookkeeper, I mean I guess you can do that by having an experience in accounting. Um, I guess something else that I would add there is if you want to go and really become an accountant, definitely becoming a CPA is going to open up a lot of doors for you. If you follow that path, I feel like if somebody that graduates with an accounting degree and becomes a CPA has their life, I can say, at least their economic or their financial position very you could say very stable, and it's well paid off, you know. But definitely if you're going to follow this path, I guess the first thing that you need to focus on is pretty much um, the purpose of it. You know, we need to understand that by becoming accountants, we're kind of like financial advisors to the business owner or the CEO. So that's kind of like the role of the accountant.
So is there after college or when you're hanging out your shingle, do you have to get a license? And is there training in order to take the test for your license? How does that work?
Yeah, so yeah, after you get your accounting degree, you can pretty much, stop there. But I mean, if you're one of the people like I am, I mean, I like to go for more. I guess the what comes with the implication of becoming a CPA, and this is the reason why a lot of people don't really do it. It's because it's the fact that you have to have three things when it comes to becoming a CPA. First of all, you have to have a year in experience in either public or private accounting. You need to have that experience. You need to be working under a CPA if you want to become a CPA. Second of all, you need to have 150 units, at least in the state of California. You need to not just have an accounting degree, but you have to have 30 more units besides that to get the license. So it helps if you get your master's degree, or if you just want to finish the other 30 units besides your bachelor's in accounting, you can pretty much do that in a community college or any other institution that can charge you less. And then the third part, which I believe could be the most difficult, but I feel like it's the most that you learn from, it's passing the 4 exams of the CPA.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of like I will say that the toughest um, thing to do, because the exams are not really that easy. Studying for it really takes a lot of discipline and a lot of persistence. But I feel like by the time I'm gonna be done with studying for the CPA, I think it's gonna be awesome. So that's the reason why. If you're going to follow this path, becoming a CPA and an accountant, I feel like you really need to have a passion for it, and you really need to understand what you're providing value to the world, as an accountant.
I agree. I agree totally. Thank you so much for sharing that. Again, guys, if you have any questions about becoming an accountant, feel free to reach out to Kevin. He's here to answer any questions. He also, has just graduated, so he definitely can respond to any current questions that you might have, ideas. And his business is definitely growing, and I can't wait to see where he ends up, in a number of years. So thank you so much, Kevin, for being on. Everyone go ahead and remember to subscribe. It is free to subscribe to all the different podcasts that I do, so that way you can continue to learn about the other stories that are shared. And again, thank you so much, Kevin, and I'll talk to you soon.